Right, Ryland, what are we doing today?
Testing a brand new Hobie Compass.
And how many days have I had this compass for?
0.
It is brand spanking new, and tomorrow I leave Newcastle. I won't come back, so I don't need it. So we are giving it away.
See you later.
So firstly, this review talks about everything that you need to know about the latest Hobie Compass that is on the market. We'll cover the things that are good about the kayak and the things that I think could be better. I'll also touch on the latest seat, or the latest upgrade, the brand new seat that is on this Hobie Compass, and we'll talk about whether or not that seat is actually better than the old one. For all you tournament anglers out there, I'll also include some extracts of an interview with this guy. He happens to be a good friend of the channel's, but he also runs one of the most successful Hobie dealerships in the country, as well as one of the largest fishing teams that you'll see on the competitive stage. So once I'm done giving you my opinion, we'll switch to him and you will get a second perspective of this kayak. Now, if that's not a reason enough to watch this video, remember, we are giving away a brand new Hobie Compass. So let's get into it. Now, I know you guys absolutely loved last year's review of this kayak, so this year I really wanted to update it and include that new seat and really talk about that and flesh that out just a little bit more. So, after picking up a kayak from HWS, I met up with a friend of mine to take this kayak out on the water.
Hey, did you get lost?
Sorta. I'm right now, but
I'll see you soon. Ciao.
Now, in terms of length, the kayak itself is actually 12 foot long, and the one that we're testing today is brand new. It's never seen the water, and I'm using it as you would see it in the store at pickup, brand new, with a couple of extras in the mix that I'll talk about in a moment. If you're new to the Hobie brand, the Hobie Compass is actually one of the most popular kayaks within the Hobie range. And there's a few different reasons for that. On the water, in terms of performance, it's one of the fastest hulls with a really nice pointed nose that cuts through the water nicely. It means it tracks through the water well and has a nice width to it that offers a lot of stability. At the rear of the kayak, it is quite large, so you do get a lot of storage in the rear as well, and that's really convenient if you're a gear junkie who likes to take a lot of gear with them on the water. The front of the kayak also has great drainage, so if you do end up with water over the gunnels or over the sides of the kayak, that area does funnel the water down the Mirage Drive hole really nicely, meaning that you end up with a drier ride than you would on other Hobie kayaks. Now, I expect that Hobie won't like me saying this, but the truth of the matter is that prices for Hobie kayaks over the last 5 years, I guess in particular, have been going up to a point where now they cost a small fortune. You will find this model, the Hobie Compass, brings high-end features and designs of its expensive brothers and sisters and really brings them down to a more affordable level. And on those features, I think that specifically for like a good 98%, that's unquantified, but for a large percentage of the market, this kayak's got all the features that you would ever need. It's certainly ready for me, the tournament guy, and has everything that I might need in a weekend. The main feature that gets me time and time again are these side rails that sit on either side of the cockpit area and are an open license from the Pimp My Ride gods. They literally take anything from rod holders like I'm using here and is the only real additional extra that I've added to the kayak. But you can also add graphs or sounders, cup mounts, accessory kits, whatever you need, you can mount them in these rails. And of course they're adjustable, so if you end up putting them too far forward and you can't reach them, well then you can unscrew them, move whatever accessory it is to the rear, and then re-screw them in. They are one of the best accessories that you'll find on a kayak. I think if you're in a kayak store trying to work out which Hobie is best for you, it is really easy to get upsold because one kayak has an extra cup holder, or maybe there's some dual steering controls, or maybe you sit slightly higher in a kayak. Honestly though, a lot of those things people don't actually need. And in saying that, one of the strengths behind the Hobie Compass is the way that you can accessorize this kayak. The Compass is just made to be upgraded, from the side rails that I just mentioned to these hatches. You can take out that circular hatch in the center and move it to the nose of the kayak where you can see that circle that's already molded for it to be fit. In the space that you leave near your feet, you can upgrade that to the rectangular hatch, and by doing that you've more than doubled the in-hull storage where you keep things dry. It is a permanent upgrade that I would get a Hobie dealer to do because there is some cutting in the kayak involved. The areas under your seat where you could keep tackle boxes and the area behind the seat where you can keep your day bag or accessory crate or live well are easily accessible and convenient for those items that you might need to grab quickly. There's definitely plenty of space on this kayak to store your items. Now, to finish up on the water, and I mentioned it before, but the kayak rides really nicely. It's fast, it turns well, it's responsive, And when you are turning really fast and hard to the side, you never feel like you're going to tip over. It's really nice and stable. Now on that stability, you can 100% stand up in this Hobie Compass. I will say though, if you've got a bigger build or your mobility is not great, I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of that kayak there where you're on the verge. If you want to stand up in it, you really do need some good balance and mobility. If you don't have that in this kayak, I think you're asking for a little bit of trouble. When you are seating though, the seating height is really nice. There's a good relationship between where the pedals are and your seat, and because the Mirage Drive's adjustable, if you've got shorter legs, you can just put the pedals closer to you. Honestly, because of its lightweight off the water, the ability for it to be accessorized and rigged how you want it, and how it handles on the water, this is definitely 100% my favorite kayak on the market. So that completes the long list of pros with this kayak. Now let's talk about the cons and the things that you need to consider. Firstly, you do miss out on the dual steering ability, and I think for about 98% of the market, like I said before, it really doesn't matter. But if you're a fisherman that maybe doesn't hold the rod with the right hand, that matches up with the side that the steering is on, well then that can be a little bit of a problem. You can imagine fighting a fish and trying to land it at the same time as trying to grab the steering on the other side. You can appreciate that that might get pretty tricky pretty quickly. So that's something to consider. Now, like I said in the intro, the major change to this kayak this year is the seat. Those inside the business of the Hobie kayak world know that even today, people are actually still preferencing the old Hobie Compass stock over the new stock so that they can get their hands on the older seat. And I think it's valid. In my opinion, the older seat is much nicer than the newer seat. The truth is though, that stock's not gonna last forever and eventually you won't be able to get your hands on the old stuff. So let's talk about the new stuff. The first thing I didn't like about the seat was the fit of the seat into the mold of the kayak. Like every other Hobie seat, it is removable, but there was too much play between the actual seat and where the seat was meant to sit in the kayak. Sure, I didn't get any movement up or down in terms of tilting while I was pedaling the kayak, but what I did get was some sideways movement, a little bit of left and right as maybe I was pushing along with my legs. And from a reviewer's point of view, that wasn't a great thing to see. And I think though that it is easily fixed. If you grab some shallow rubber pads with some 3M backing and glue them down onto the hull, you will stop the seat from sliding left and right. If I was Hobie, you could solve this by putting some of those pads already pre-installed in the kayak so the seats go straight in and there's no rubbing. But to be honest, I was a little disappointed in the quality control here and the ability for that little, I guess, quality control issue to get through the production line and make its way to the customer. Admittedly, it is pretty uncharacteristic to see that from Hobie. The seat meshing and the material that the seat is made out of is still quite comfortable. I can still sit all day in this seat and have no lower back issues like I might have in my older cheap $400 kayaks back in the day. It is worth mentioning that unlike other Hobie seats that we've seen in the past and the old Hobie Compass seat, you can't retension this one in the same way. It means as the material wears and gets a little bit older, you might get a little bit of sag if you don't take care of your seat. So I'd recommend that you keep it out of the sun so it doesn't get any sun damage and you wash it down after use. That way you get the best length of time out of your seat and it won't sag and deform. Of course, don't let that scare you though. Hobie have one of the best warranties on the market and have been known to replace items even out of warranty. Sometimes you might have to contribute a little bit, but like I said, Hobie in the kayaking market are known for their warranty. All right, those are my major points. Now, if you're here for the kayak, that's gonna come up in a moment, but here is the second opinion I was talking about.
Yeah, so tell me about the compass, because I obviously spent the day on it today.
We love the compass. It's been a really strong seller for us since it came out, 2018, I think it was. It came out as the entry-level kayak into the Mirage Drive series. But yeah, definitely feel like it's kind of, with the introduction of the Passport, sort of moved up and had almost like a cult following now. I like it because it's so customizable. So like, it's a pretty blank canvas to start with. Kayak, Mirage Drive, rudder, couple basic tracks, and then you can just build your own sort of fishing platform on top of that.
Do people usually get it for fishing, or do like?
I would say that probably 80% of our customers in Compass are still fishing, but it is still really popular. If someone comes in and they're not necessarily interested in fishing, they do often end up in a Compass.
What's the other 20% that would buy it? Like grey nomads? Or?
Yeah, like just people that want to get out and explore on the lake, do a bit of touring, grey nomads, caravanning. getting around Australia. It's a good lightweight option, still really durable.
So why would I choose a Compass over, let's say, an Outback?
Lighter weight is probably the main one. Price, a bit cheaper, and also can kind of develop it into what you want. It's definitely got a bit of a nicer bow for a bit of chop. I think when you're punching through a bit of chop, if you get offshore and you're finding like there's a bit of swell around and a bit of chop, I think that the bow, the really good kind of draining front of it works really well if you're getting a bit wet. I'd say the Compass is a little bit drier than Outback. Yeah, the seating position on Compass in relation to the whole length of the kayak is probably a little bit further back, whereas the Outback, I guess it's more designed around tournaments and live wells, I guess. So the seating position is a little bit further forward and expecting the weight of a live well or something in the back. So
I never thought about that.
yeah, I feel like an Outback trims really well with a live well full. Like it kind of levels everything out and it runs really nice. Whereas a Compass probably sits nice in the water just from the get-go.
Yeah, right, without the extra load. Right?
Yeah, I think the Compass for me is more of a chuck on the roof and go away camping with the family sort of thing, or duck down after work and spend a few hours in sort of the evening, sort of getting down afternoon. So for me, probably rod holder in those tracks. That track at the front just lends itself really nicely to having a rod holder there that you can just put one rod there. I really like the Yak Attack Black Pack for the back. Something like that, I can chuck a bit of gear in, even a bit of wet weather gear or a jumper in case it sort of cools off in the afternoon. It's got a nice lid to close off on that and keep it all nice and secure and dry in there. We've seen a massive increase in crates, I think, over the last probably 3 years. The H crate is really, like the Hobie H crate's gained a lot of popularity, and the Yak Attack Black Pack is a great bit of gear too. Yeah, I think people are really utilising that back area and the great range of crates there are now.
So like the channel promised, we are giving one brand new Hobie Compass away in 1 week from today. Somebody is going to get a really nice Christmas/New Year's gift. Now, the kayak is valued at $39.90 or around about $4,000 in Australia. Currently, prices obviously do change, but as of December 2022, that's how much it costs. And it's about $2,600 in the US. And the giveaway is courtesy of two people. Firstly, it's HWS or Hunter Water Sports, who have admittedly been long-time supporters of this channel. And obviously, I'd recommend that if you found some of this content beneficial to you, then please support the people that support the channel. Secondly, the giveaway is also courtesy of the members of this channel. A lot of the funding that's paying for this kayak is actually coming from you guys, and it's a bit of a thank you for the support that you guys continue to provide. Membership does cost you as little as $1 a week and gives you access to some of the exclusive giveaways and some behind the scenes content. It obviously helps me stay on the water as well. So if you like this content, please consider the membership or a donation below. Enough about that. Now, to enter the giveaway, you need to do two things. To enter, what do you need to do?
Like, subscribe, and comment.
That's it. I promised a good friend of mine that she could be in the video, so that's what happened there. But you need to click on those buttons to help the channel grow. In the comments, I'd like you to tell me which Hobie Compass is your favorite color and where you would use the kayak. What's your local waterway? Where would you go fishing? And how would you use it? Whether it is fishing or some other recreational sport or activity. So get commenting below. The second is to be a member of the channel. All those benefits that I mentioned before, just hit that join screen either below or on the home screen of the YouTube channel itself. The random draw is 100% open to international entrants, so don't be hesitant. We'll work it out. Now, before I leave you with more of that interview with James, I wanted to mention 3, maybe 4 products that I think are probably smart ideas for you to buy or purchase with your kayak. The first is a cart. Moving that Hobie kayak around can be quite cumbersome because it is 12 foot long. Getting a $199 cart or however much a cart costs these days, whatever you end up finding, the cart makes taking your kayak from your vehicle to the water's edge much more convenient and easy. The second thing is a rod holder that sits in one of those tracks, particularly if you're a fisherman or if you plan on doing any fishing. Being able to put your rod down and separate yourself from those dangling hooks and the lure that might be in a fish's mouth is again quite a convenient thing, and I'd highly recommend it. The third thing that is a no-brainer is the Burley Pro Bumper Bro. Now, I've got to disclose that Burley Pro have also been helpers of this channel previously. They have no idea about this video in particular, but the bumper bros at the front are almost like you're making money, particularly if you're going to resell your kayak. It protects the front of the nose from damage, particularly when you're beaching or launching your kayak or relaunching your kayak, and you might be doing it from a ramp or some rocks. It's going to really stop the nose of the kayak from getting torn up. 100%, I think that is something worth considering. The last thing I'll retouch on is some sort of crate device in the rear that holds all your gear. Now, it could be a live oil that's empty, or it could be one of those crates that you saw some photos of earlier. I'll throw the links down below, and it's definitely a smart option if you want to keep your kayak clean and not have things just go absolutely everywhere.
But why the involvement in the tournament scene that we've seen HWS and its team anglers become over the last few years in particular? Like,
Yeah.
what's driven you in that space?
I think everyone enjoys a bit of competition, but for me personally, it's been much bigger than that in the friendships that I guess I formed through that series. The first couple times I went away, I didn't really know that many people, and it's amazing how quickly that Hobie fishing series community and the tournament scene in general can kind of welcome someone new into the scene. You make a lot of friends, you get a lot of great advice on fishing. Learn a lot in as far as angling goes. I find that just going away to a tournament, sitting around the fire in the afternoon in winter, or just going down to the local pub, wherever that might be, and having a chicken snitty and a beer in the afternoon with a bunch of guys is probably the main reason I keep coming back, to be able to do that in conjunction with a great run fishing series, and a great way to learn angling. The series has been great for building friendships and everything like that. I guess with the last couple years with COVID, it's really sort of thrown a bit of a crazy mix into the tournament series. So I'm really looking forward to 2023 and that series. It's going to be exciting. There's a lot of new faces coming along, which is always great.
So obviously the HWS tournament team has grown into, you've got some of the best anglers in Australia that have won Australian championships and whatnot as part of that pro staff tournament team.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
We got a fantastic team. I guess it just started off like, I don't know, however many years ago, with just you and I with a HWS hat kind of turning up to some comps, and we've developed that with bringing new guys in. We've had some absolutely fantastic people helping support HWS over that time. We've got 7 anglers sort of pushing into the 2023 series as our tournament team. Couple new guys in there. Really excited to see how they go.
Who are they?
Who are they?
Yeah.
I'm trying to gesture over here. I'm like, give me more, man.
Ryland.
Yeah, Ryland Sainsbury.
Ryland Sainsbury, yeah. So he's joining us for 2023. Just moved to Sydney. He's got a great kind of, I guess, resume as far as different species, a lot of freshwater stuff, loves his brim fishing. Also happens to be Russell Barbecue's cousin, which I'm sure he's got some good DNA there.
Yeah.
And then John Curry. So a lot of people know John Curry from Yak Hunters. He's been an absolutely awesome member of Yak Hunters, their admin team. A great ambassador for kayak fishing in general. And we were super excited this year to get him to join the team. So he's going to be coming along to Yak Hunters comps and to the Hobie series next year, representing Hunter Water Sports as well, which is fantastic.
He's got the new HWS kayak.
Yeah. We're sort of putting things together now to get him into a new Outback. So that should be good.
Tell me, what are you proudest about in the business that you've got here?
I'm pretty proud about a lot of stuff, but I guess turning up to a round or driving down the street and seeing a kayak with a HWS sticker, or jumping on social media and seeing someone that I've never met before wearing a HWS hat or ordering a HWS jersey. Like, people out there who are choosing to represent our brand and buy something that's associated with that HWS logo. It was something that I didn't ever really think was possible. I thought that, HWS, like only someone who's being paid or has some kind of incentive or works here would want to kind of rep that brand. But I guess what we've built over the last 10 years has been really great, and just to see more and more people want to be part of that, and buy a jersey, put the sticker on the kayak. It's been fantastic. When we're, like, you might be scrolling through social media, see some guy out there who's having a great day on the water, he's wearing a HWS hat, and it just feels awesome to be part of that, to really feel that connection that, we've somehow helped him in his day.
What's it like to constantly be in the lead on the first day, but constantly choke on the second day?
It's good. It's good. It's it gives me good perspective. Yeah, I don't know whether there's been an angler in the Hobie series who's led day 1 and flopped day 2 more than myself, probably.
Yeah, you still keep coming.
Yeah. Sometimes on day 1 I do really well, and then I get scared that I'm going to take the trophy away from someone. So I just, yeah.